Hi, folks. You were Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about two-tier policing, or two-tier prosecution, two-tier justice, call it what you like, in regard to when a gay lesbian individual supposedly has or attempts to have underage sex with, say, somebody that may be an employee or, say, a student and even at school, or maybe it's like a sports coach or something and they're coaching somebody. The difference between how zealously and vigorously the prosecutors go after the straight white guy or the straight guy, but particularly the straight white guy, but how far more lenient they have. In the first place, they're reluctant to prosecute the gay lesbian individual, even though their activities may be flagrantly against the law and far worse than anything the straight hetero guy did. But nonetheless, they're quite reluctant to go after the LGBTQ type people, but they, with absolute vigor and zeal, they go after the straight white guy for what is, in my view at least, a much lesser crime, or maybe even be in the misdemeanor category. Now, I noticed this because there was a story about a guy who'd been involved, a gay guy who'd been involved in some fraud case, and only there and within that context were they looking at his previous legal history. Now, he was this particular gay guy. I won't give him any more details regarding name and place or anything, but he was a teacher, and he had, so it's it's a court verdict, so we can assume that it's accurate for the moment at least. He was pursuing relations with an underage kid who was also a student. Now the kid, I think the kid from memory was 15, and the teacher was in his 30s. He's gay, and he's pursuing this kid for gay sex, including asking the kid in numerous texts and emails, asking the kid to when I say kid, he's 15, to take pictures of his erect member and to post the photographs to the gay guy, the guy teacher, 30-year-old, or in his 30s. Now there were numerous texts and emails along those lines, so the guy was caught dead to rights. I don't know if intimate relations were ever consummated. That was a bit more vague. Nonetheless, for this, and this went on over a period of 12 months. So the kid, or more than 12 months. So the kid, I think, was 14 when it started, and he was, 15 or 16 as it ran its course. Anyway, the guy got fired as a teacher, and he can't teach again, or not in that state. Not that area, so maybe he can set up shop somewhere else. He's on a pedophile register, but apparently that his name on that register magically disappeared. So now he got a 2.5-year prison sentence, which is, I think, rather light for that sort of thing. But anyway, but yet he only served 3 months of it. So after 3 months, he's let out on some good behavior thing, and he can't go within 50 yards of a school or something like that. There are conditions attached. I don't know how well policed they would be, but he got another job, quite a good job, quite a well-paid job, prestigious job, while he was still in prison. So somehow he's able to apply for jobs while he's still in prison, and he gets the job. Now, I had a look at other sort of cases, ones that I could find anyway, and there appears to be some sort of underground network that looks after these people to make sure that they get another job straight away. Somehow their legal fees are covered by some mysterious network of NGOs. The straight white guy is going to be bankrupt. This teacher was white, by the way, a white gay guy, and so it's actually no effect on them. They're firstly, the prosecutors they're reluctant, and they'll only do it if it appears in the media, and they kind of think, but I guess we got to do something. The entire case on this guy was focused not on the crimes he'd committed. That was mentioned, but that was sort of like a passing issue. It was on, gay people have always been persecuted. the church is persecuted. Did you know that, gays used to be burned at the stake or something? All that. And most of the evidence was sort of in mitigation of the crimes the guy had committed. And the prosecutors weren't objecting. But somehow, so the guy's got no financial sort of penalty out of this. And he's, again, got a good job straight away. I mean, how did he get fixed up with a good job like that straight out of a court case where he's had to... So clearly there's again, a network of people looking to protect and just look out for these gay guys. But the subject too, I mean, if you can get some of the court record, another court is, well, look, that's just the way he is. I mean, he can't help it, it's just the way he is. He didn't do anything bad. I mean, he's just that he was born this way. I mean, what's your problem? Are you all a bunch of bigot Nazis trying to prosecute like Hitler used to? So it's very much along those lines. And the media coverage also is very sympathetic, rather than condemning the behavior. Now let's contrast this with this guy's a sports coach or assistant coach, and he's 19, and some of the students, like school student age, so are like they're 15, 16 and so on, older. He's like doing senior, I think it's senior high school, maybe 15 to 18, I think it's that. So he's an assistant coach in that area. And yeah, he's a good-looking guy. I mean, he's super fit and everything. And he's only 19, for goodness sakes. And so he's got a particular student in his group of kids that he's training, like he's a sports trainer or something. And this girl she's 15 years old, which is, she's only X amount of months inside of being legal, but she's 15 years old, and she's statuesque, voluptuous. She's fully developed young woman. She's not some scrawny little kid. She's like about 6 foot tall, super athletic, smoking hot. She could easily pass for a young woman in her early 20s. And she's already sexually active, and she aggressively pursues this guy for sex. Sending him texts of I want you to fuck me, fuck me hard tonight, or meet me around the corner, and fuck me stupid, and very, very explicit texts that there's no ambiguity about her intentions or the meaning. So she's initiated it. She's aggressively pursuing him, and she's pretty hot, So anyway, they end up doing it, and a number of times, and she's hungry for more of it, and keeps I want you to fuck me, and this sort of thing. So he's being bombarded with these texts. He's sending her texts back saying, look, I don't think this is a good idea. Don't you think we should make this the last one, or don't you think we should not stop this doing? And she would text back, and she would hit him with text days over days. No, I want, and just fuck me one more time, and all this sort of stuff. So anyway, the matter goes to court, but instead of like, if I was a prosecutor looking at that, I go, I don't think it's really a case here. I mean, seriously, she's not some shrinking little violet who is defiled by this wicked, evil man. She was the aggressor from beginning right through to the end, and it's him who stopped it. It's another, we can't do this anymore. So I wouldn't see any court case here. Nonetheless, the prosecutors go after it with great zeal and vigor. He's a fucking male. He's a straight white male oppressing a female. He's a Nazi. He's fucking Hitler. Where's there a swastika? Was he wearing any swastika? Raid his house and try and find a swastika. So they go after this with great vigor. He's not getting any help with his legal expenses. And the pursuit of him was very ideological. He's a man oppressing a woman. It's misogyny. It's Nazi. It's Hitler. And it was a complete ideological sort of hit job on the guy. The evidence, I mean, the court case is interesting because they fully accepted she'd initiated it. They fully accepted she pursued him. They fully accepted that he was trying to talk her out of it. They fully accepted he ended it. That they fully accepted there was no coercion at all from him. It was her who was chasing the sexual encounters. So they accepted all of that, but purely on the basis that he was the assistant coach and he should have known better, they put him in prison for 5 fucking years. I mean, are you kidding me? 5 years. Now, he didn't serve the whole time. He got out in, I think, about, give or take, about 2.5 years. But he's screwed. I mean, he's bankrupted by the legal fees. No one's coming to his help. He hasn't had a job for years. He can't get one. You're on a pedophile radar. Oh, you're that guy who. Now, we're not talking about some young child here. We're talking about a sexually active, very well-developed, voluptuous girl. Should the guy have done it? No, absolutely not. Should there have been penalties and punishments for him being stupid enough to engage in sexual relations with this girl? Yes, there should have been punishment. Should he have been fired from his job as a coach? Absolutely. There should be punishments. He should know better and should have resisted the temptation, regardless of whether she initiated and pursued him or not. But he's screwed. He's finished. Now, I would argue that his alleged crimes were far less concerning than the crimes that the gay guy did. But the gay guy serves 2 or 3 months in prison. His legal fees are being paid by these shadowy NGOs that are probably getting tax-free money off the taxpayer. And this guy gets, is fixed up with a job straight away while he's still in fucking prison. Now, I looked at other cases, I guess, and this seems to be the guy, and this is the 2-tier policing thing. I'll talk a little bit more about other instances than that, but where it comes to gay men or lesbians, for that matter, cultivating and going and chasing the young meat for intimate relations, the authorities seem very reluctant to chase or to convict. And if it ends up as a conviction, they give them very light sentences, and then behind the scenes they're let off they're serving 10 or 15% of their sentences, and the sentences are always like, I mean, why did the straight white guy get 5 years, but the gay guy get 2.5 years, and then was let out in 3 months anyway. So now I've looked at other cases like this, including lesbian cases, and they all seem to be the same. And it's the same ideological argument. Well, gay, lesbian people have been oppressed for centuries. We just have to let them. It's now our duty to engage in restorative justice and just let them, have sex with underage kids and so on. I mean, if the kid wants to, why not? What's the problem? Stop carrying on about it, you damn Nazi bigots. Whereas if it's a straight white guy and a girl, even if the girl's the one initiating, you fucking Nazi, fascist, misogynist, oppressor, we're going to stick it up you and put you in prison, you fucking... so it's a very, very different attitude to the justice. One is punishing an evil oppressor. The other is, well, they're societal victims anyway. Why do we have to go after them? Why can't we just let them go? And so very, very different attitude. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't, convictions and so on, but I can't. I'm sure there is one. I can't find a case. Well, I'm sure if I've searched long enough, I could. But the cases certainly I've looked at, the penalties for the gay lesbian people are mysteriously light. The time they serve is mysteriously minimum. They seem to suffer not one whit. They go straight out and get better jobs. Their legal fees are paid. That seems to be a pattern all across the thing. Now, when we look at, say, things like the divorce courts, the ideological fanatics, of which there are many across the West now, they view this not as simply a matter of divorce or the children or this. No. This is the front line of gender warfare. This is the front line. This is where we get Hitler. Hitler's into court. We shove it up Hitler. We make those people pay for being there. And it's viewed with frantic and frenetic ideological fervor. And so if you look at just to compare one here, there's a man, took his children and said, went off somewhere like out in the middle of nowhere to live, and said that his, mum had died, and you're with me now, and there was no claim of mistreatment or anything like that. But the court, the divorce court, the family court, was outraged by this. They finally caught up with the guy, was outraged by this, and he got several years in prison because of it. They argued that it was a kind of a kidnapping. I mean, can you kidnap your own children? The court case allocating custody hadn't been completed at that point, but the guy could see he was obviously heading in one direction only. Surrounded by radical feminist fanatics. What do you think's going to happen? So he got several years in prison for that. Now, multiple women who've done exactly the same thing, taken the children off, saying, your father's dead, and that's it. Do they get a penalty? What penalty do they get? Well, hardly anything. They may get weekend detention every second weekend, only when the father gets the kids anyway. So, do they get a fine or something? Are they thrown in prison? No. They almost get no penalty for exactly the same thing. So this two-tier policing has been around. I think we first saw it, I think, in the divorce courts. It was an ideological court, and its mission was to socially engineer the public, so socially engineer gender relations. And so that if you're going to socially re-engineer society, and use courts and so on to do it, then you have to have a two-tier system, because one you're trying to punish and the other you're trying to reward. And if you've got a legal system that treats everyone equally, you can't do the social engineering, because you have to rely on facts, evidence, and so on. Whereas if you rely on ideology, particularly predetermined, you're dealing with an oppressor and an oppressed party, and then trying to do restorative justice, well, that is your mission, your only mission, then of course you have to have, and do have, and as we see it, two-tier policing. Now, this is the same whether you're looking at in this case, gender relations in the family court, or you're looking at LGBTQ versus straight type relations, the heteronormative and so on. Again, it has to be ideological if you're going to treat them differently. Or the gay lesbian people get exactly the same time in prison and would be treated just as harshly, and the prosecutors would pursue them just as zealously, which they clearly do not. And the same goes in race grifting and hustling. We see this in all over the West now. When white people do it, it's Hitler, it's Nazi, it's this. But when any other race does it, it's no, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So say in the case, this recent case of, and I'll do another video on this, is Sydney Sweeney, that American actress, modeling jeans in an advert for I can't remember the name of the company, a clothing company, a jeans outfit, and the advert says that Sydney, says the actress Sydney Sweeney, has great genes, and she's got quite a pretty face, I think. She's a scrawny little chick, and so wouldn't do much for me. But has she got a pretty face? Absolutely. Is it a photogenic face? No doubt about it. Would I, if I was looking for an advert and they sent me her, I said, oh yeah, no, she'll be good. But now, but as soon as that advert appears, there's the commentariat, which is all running to exactly the same script. So it's hardly spontaneous, by the way. Also, it's a Nazi dog whistle, it's Nazi, it's Hitler, it's the Third Reich, it's fascism, it's... So again, we've got this two-tier thing. Now, do they go to China and say, oh, it's terrible, there are Chinese people in the adverts in China, or Japanese people in the adverts in Japan, or black people in the adverts in Africa, or Eskimos? No, they don't. It's only bad when white people do it, and then as soon as the white person's in the advert, Hitler, and on it goes. So that shows the insanity of the two-tier system that we're operating under. That only straight white people can be bad, and that's reflected now in, I think, pretty much every legal jurisdiction across the Western world. You've been with Tassos today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.